Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids and cubs, and welcome to Season 3 and episode number 217 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Yeah. All right. Today, recording day is, I'm going to guess Wednesday. Yes, September
Third Monday.
Third Monday of the week. Wednesday, September 27th, 2023. And according to the Weather Network, it is going to be a perfect fall day here at the Beaver Lodge. 21 maximum sunshine. What more can you ask for? Absolute perfect weather. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, he, Mr. Beaver A, and with me as always is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. We have a Wednesday morning nibble for you, but before we do, of course, a thank you to our founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. And now, before we do anything else, let's say good morning to Mr. Grizzly and ask, how's your mental health doing this morning, sir?
Sorry, I had to clear my throat first.
Okay.
I didn't want to, do that on
Yes.
the air, cough in people's ears. That's not polite. I was raised properly. Thank you, Mom. Mental health wise, I think I'm doing pretty good today. A little tired. I had a rough night's sleep. I tossed and turned. I was up several times, and I don't know, one of those nights. But I think mental health wise, I'm actually feeling pretty good today. So thumbs up, eh? That's a thumbs up there for you, look.
A thumbs up.
No, I'm not making fun of anybody. I used to live in Gatineau and I used to live in Chicoutimi, and I have a lot of family throughout the province of Quebec. So please don't gang up on me for doing a Francais accent. I'm not making fun of anyone. Get that out of the way. I do multiple accents. You're going to pick on me for doing the Irish one too? Lord Tunner, Jesus boy, that's a Newfoundlander right there.
Okay. Whoa. Pump the brakes. It's just us two and the kids.
I know.
Now what's coming for you?
I'm ready to get my dukes up today, I'll tell you this.
Oh, okay. Tell me why.
Well, the venom, the absolute vitriol, the sea, mountain, ocean of bovine scatology that has been flowing through both the House of Commons and media of all types, print, On air, cable news, you name it.
I
Like,
know,
I
especially on
just,
air. Can you believe the CPC had not RuPaul on?
I'm not
We
surprised.
we needed experts, so they went and got Rupa. I guess everyone else decided they were washing, then conditioning their hair that day and didn't want to get involved.
The CBC had her on. Like, what?
Right. It's like
Look,
I could just like see like, oh, we need someone. Call. Why is everybody's busy? Everybody's dealing with something. Well, we got Rupa. I was like, yeah.
like,
I would
I get you need to have a pundit, but really, she's not a pundit. She said she's not a journalist. She's an opinion
just
columnist.
skip the story. Well, I mean, they bring on opinion columnists all the time, but
Mhm.
but like really 40 million people. We have the largest Sikh diaspora outside,
Yeah, I know.
and we have a pretty healthy Indian population as well.
Yeah, yeah. And they had to go
And
to.
of all that, but that whole basin of people in Canada, we choose not RuPaul.
I,
Oh boy, your taxes paid for that, Canada.
well, it's an interesting comment from Tavi G. They're worried because Pierre Poilievre has threatened their building. Yeah, he said the other day, "Won't it be great when we can turn this into housing?" I'm like, well, actually, you can't because the CBC doesn't own the building; it's leased.
Mhm.
So he can't even get his facts straight when he says something as ridiculous and as
It
hateful
doesn't
and as
matter. All it
stupid.
needs to do is sound good in the moment.
Yeah,
Remember.
that's it. That's it. He needs the nanosecond, and he won the nanosecond. So congratulations.
Yep. So yesterday, the inevitable thing that we pretty much all knew was going to happen did
Hmm.
happen. The Speaker of the House, Anthony Rota, stepped down. Politicians really, really, really need to start to learn. I'm sorry, I'm harping on this, but when you say I take full responsibility, it has to mean something. You also have to make it mean something. All right, or else it's just hot air. And um, I don't know if just everybody's taken a page from Trump. It's like there's a scandal. Okay, I'm just gonna ride it out because the news cycle goes so fast, and for some politicians it works for a while, like Doug Ford. It worked for about 5 years.
Hmm. It's not working for Doug anymore.
Working
It's
for Doug,
done now.
yeah. Um, so there's only so long you can ride something out. And there's only so many chances you get to ride something out, and people will move on before they say, you know what?
Enough.
Yeah, this is a few more. This is just a few too many here. Uh, so it would really be nice in the future when something like this happens that when you say, listen, I accept full responsibility, I'm going to step aside. Or like in the United States, they got this Bob Menendez guy that the Democrats are calling to resign because he was found, guilty, or he was indicted, I think, for some fraud or something like that.
Oh
And
yes, I did see
he's so
that.
like he's going like, well, I've only been indicted, so I'm not resigning because I'm like innocent till proven guilty. It's like I remember a time back here in Canada when anybody was just being investigated, they would step aside, not resign,
Yeah.
but step aside as a minister and let somebody else take over the functions during the time the investigation was going on. And
Just
if
to
they were
not.
cleared, then they would come back.
Yeah,
Now
so it could
people
keep the
are
spotlight.
indicted. Yes, now people
Just
are
keep the. Yeah.
indicted and stay.
Yeah. No, and people would step back for the simple reason it was like, let's get the okay, this is not going to put the spotlight on the file that I'm dealing with or the ministry, that that individual was taken care of. So it's like, I'll step aside. You can focus on me as much as you want, but don't take the focus off of this
Exactly,
file or
because the file, the service to the people, should never come second to the minister.
That's right. That should always be first. And there
If you're
was a time when politicians of all stripes, no matter what your party
no matter
was,
what,
would do that.
that was standard operating procedure.
Yeah, that time seems to have passed.
Ethics commissioner was investigating you, you would step aside and let the number two take over until the investigation was over.
Hmm.
Like, so yeah, I take full responsibility really needs to mean something, especially, people our age,
Hmm.
50, because like we were kids and teenagers still, right? Formative when we were learning about politics. That was the standard. So we're the last generation for whom that's true. It's like, except we're 50 now.
Yeah.
We're the CEOs now, and
Yes.
we have the money now, and it's
Wow.
like, and we're like, and we're
Yeah.
the ones, if they say as you get older, you vote more often because you have more stuff and you want to protect it.
Hmm.
We have more stuff now.
Well, I do feel
Time did its
bad.
thing.
I do feel bad for Anthony Rota in the sense that uh, he was revered as a very good man
Yes.
by all parties, which is why he was s- placed in that position as Speaker of the
Right.
House. Everybody loved him equally, because he was a good man who had a spotless political career, and he made a bad choice, and now he's gone. And I wonder if that was a setup. I wonder that only because I've been reading a lot that points to it being a setup. I don't know that. I'm just floating that. I'm just
Yeah.
asking questions.
Yes. From what I've been reading, again, I don't know because for some reason, no journalist seems to have asked for an interview yet,
Hmm.
from what I can tell. Now, they probably wouldn't be. I don't know if they would be granted one, given the
Probably not.
shitstorm.
Hmm.
But it's and the man is 98. But it would seem that his son
Hmm.
also lives in the writing, is on the board of a hospital,
Hmm.
so would be familiar with politics and politicians, and the recommendation of would have come from him.
Hmm.
The best I can see, word on the tweet. I have not had any corroboration,
Hmm.
but it's not that much of a stretch to say, hey. Right? Now, it seems that when Zelensky was here before at other events they've attended, or this man has
Hmm.
attended, is a fan of Zelensky, is right.
Hmm.
So there's no reason for which um, his son would not. Okay, hey, you know, my father lives in your riding, speaker, and Zelensky is coming,
Hmm.
and it would be a really he loves him, and he fought for liberation of Ukraine, and he would really love, and sure, right, that is totally plausible. That
Oh
now,
yes.
now, could there be my when I heard that I thought, okay, well then, but who told the son, hey, maybe you should
Hmm.
call Rhoda? Well, but if he's on the board of a hospital, then he's you got to be politically connected somehow.
One would
If you
think.
weren't when you joined the board through your work with the board, you meet them. So, I mean, if you're on the board of the hospital, chances are you've had a meeting somewhere along the way with the MP and the MPP of your
Hmm.
the riding in which the hospital's in. It's a hospital
I guess.
and it's government. you know?
Well,
So,
the point that I was trying to make earlier about how I feel bad for the man is just like he had this good life that he led for a long time, doing good works, and it all boils down to one bad mistake, and that's it. That's his legacy now. He brought a Nazi into Parliament.
mhm.
That's his legacy. It doesn't matter. All the good that he did in his life has been completely erased.
Yeah, we'll talk about Rhoda here in this case, right?
Yes, that's what I
Um,
mean. Yes,
yeah,
Rhoda.
I just wanted to make it clear for people who say, because
Oh, okay.
yeah, because
Yeah.
oh, what the Nazi led a good life,
No,
etc.
no,
Blah,
no,
blah,
no,
blah,
no,
right?
no, no. Anthony Rhoda, the
It's like,
Speaker of the House, the former
and
Speaker of the House.
and again, while everybody is talking about him like he is a Nazi,
Hmm.
um, the only reason I am not saying he is a Nazi is because I really don't know enough
Hmm.
about the situation to know. And given that I understand, I mean, in history class, like I said yesterday, we were all taught about the people who did things
Hmm.
that they would never do, but they wanted to stay alive. So
I'm not. It's not an excuse, but
it's not an excuse. Well,
it's
I
an
mean, it's not an
understanding.
excuse. I mean, would we be better? Like, I cannot honestly look at you in the camera and say, given the same situation, would I make the decision to stand on principle, or would I do whatever I need to do to stay alive to maybe fight another day?
You don't know until you're faced with that situation,
Or whether or not I'd just be one of these chicken shit people and
well,
would
and then
cave.
you've got one country on one side saying we're going to help liberate you, and the other country is saying no, we're going to continue to subjugate you, and then the country that said they're going to liberate you were actually just intending to subjugate you anyway. So you're caught between two rocks, not a rock and a hard place, between two rocks. So it's a unique political situation at the time. It would be unique today, of course, but I don't.
So,
I'm not trying to defend anybody here. I don't have enough information to make or
Yep.
form an opinion on whether or not this man was an evil human being or not. He shouldn't have been in the House of Commons. Well, he shouldn't have been promoted in the House of Commons. Him going there is a different story. If he went there to sit in the gallery on his own,
yeah.
As a citizen of this country, you are entitled to do that as long as you pass the security check, which is they don't vet your background. They just pat you down, make sure you don't have anything that could harm anybody.
Mhm.
And then you're in. Name, address, phone number,
And the thing is that people are saying, well, just a little Google check would have done the trick. Just like a little Google check on Christine Anderson would have done the
Yeah.
trick.
Yeah.
Just saying. But again, considering that we had a commission of inquiry on this, and it found that there was nothing there, it seems that, and again, I cannot verify this, that the unit he was in wasn't formed until like 1943, and we said that there was a switching of sides in 41. So the atrocities that happened pre-41 could not have happened when he was in that unit because it was after, or created after. Anyway, there's, again, so many things being said on Twitter, and I have no background and only so much time in the day to double click and verify and all that kind of stuff. So, but there's enough going on for me to know that it's a little more complicated than Nazi bad. He was within a SS unit, therefore, like this, it's not he was in an SS unit and he, like I said yesterday, went up to some desk and say, hey, I'm all in on this exterminating Jews stuff. Sign me up. So that's what my fear here with this whole issue is that, and here we're going to get into some real politic. The government has not had a good last bit.
No, they have
And
not.
coming back from the summer, they had managed very deftly and in a couple of moves to just wrestle the entire agenda away from Skippy. We had a new interim ethics commissioner, Conrad Van Finkelstein, that even James Moore on panels was saying was like a man of incredible accomplishment and substance, and it's just shame he was only taking it for 6 months. Well, after what they did for David Johnson, I can understand somebody of his caliber wanting to try it out for 6 months to see first before committing. It is the ethics file after all.
Oh, yes.
But I mean, he used to be the head of the CRTC and the Competition Bureau and all that kind of stuff. Quality person named. And now we have a head for the inquiry into election interference. And then there's some housing announcements coming. And then Zelensky's coming and he's addressing the parliament. And all of a sudden the talk is about, hey, the liberals are having good days. And whoop, boom. At the 20-meter mark in a 110-meter race, hurdle race, boom. Trip over the hurdle with this thing. And it's just like, liberals, could you please stop tripping over the frickin' flowers in the carpet?
Yeah.
God. And I forgot where I was going with the point. I'm sorry. I'm just so frustrated. I'm so frustrated when they do this. But we have a situation here, when you look at it all together, is you got liberals demanding accountability, right? You had the prime minister come out. And you got to respect the diplomacy here. It's a good thing that Speaker Rota apologized personally, and I'm sure he's reflecting now on how to ensure the dignity of the House going forward.
Yes.
That's very, 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 very delicately but firmly being told.
Yes.
Um,
You got to
then
step
we
down,
had,
dude.
yeah. Then we had Melanie Jolie. Wasn't her best day. She seemed to be a little
Flustered.
flustered. Yes.
I think she's probably, well, Melanie's got a bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for? You don't mess with her.
No.
She's
No,
got, there's a lot of
she's
fight in her. Like
yeah.
a lot of fight.
You could hear it in her voice. Right? She's like, okay. So what
She's
happened on
trying to
Friday is
contain it, right?
completely unacceptable. It was an embarrassment to the House and to Canadians, and I think the Speaker should listen to members of the House and step down. Karina Gould said that she could see no path that would allow Rota to maintain the support. MPs of the NDP and the Bloc Québécois formally called for them to step down. So was his own party, right? And it just dawned on me yesterday. It's like, interesting that we have liberals demanding accountability of another liberal on day 1 and day 2. Meanwhile, at Queen's Park, we're at week 5, week 6, and not one Ontario PC MPP has demanded any accountability from Doug Ford. Not anyone in the conservative press has demanded accountability from Doug Ford. Anthony Rota, yes, invited, let's say he is a Nazi, a 98-year-old Nazi, the House, and highlighted him. Yes, symbolically it's terrible. But as a result of that event, right? No, you know what? I'm not going to go down that path. There's one thing.
No.
Okay. But because I realized as it was going to come out of my mouth, something was going to sound insensitive, and that's not the way I wanted to formulate that concept. So I need to think that back again. But you have, it's embarrassing. Yes, it was probably hurtful to a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I was going to say nobody was harmed is where I was going to go. Nobody had food taken off their plate and nobody got ill because of what, I mean, we're talking about specific trauma here. That's why I was going to say that was insensitive.
Yes.
So that's why I stopped myself. Yes, people were definitely harmed by it.
No.
And then you have at Queen's Park, again, most likely the most criminally corrupt financial fraud conspiracy by a government in Canadian history. They're both bad in different ways, like this, but somebody made a great point. It says, it is still true that no one in Canada in the House of Commons has ever applauded for a Nazi. Everybody thought he was a Ukrainian war hero when they were applauding. So even though Putin's going to make heyday with this in terms of propaganda, we need to be clear here in Canada.
Everyone thought he was a war hero and everyone applauded him. All 338 MPs.
Right. Nobody applauded.
Is everybody going to step down
for a Nazi?
No, they applauded for a Ukrainian war hero. A 98-year-old. So what he did 80 years ago is,
If he actually was one of these people that said, yes, sign me up, let's exterminate the Jews, terrible, horrible Nazi like this, and there's absolutely no mitigating circumstance, and right? And it's like, yeah, of course. The reaction is, right?
Bro.
Like now we know better, we're doing better. Right? So we're trying to do the best we can to repair something. Now, trying to repair something, there was a move to try and a motion to maybe we should erase that from the Hansard, like sort of happened when Michael Cooper read part of the New Zealander terrorist manifesto. into the Hansard.
Karina Gould wanted
Yeah.
it struck from the Hansard, did she not? That was
I
a
think so.
very-
I think they brought it, and it was like that was when I was uncomfortable with, because I
Mhm.
again, I can understand both sides, right? Like this, we
Mhm.
honored
Oh,
this
yeah.
guy was a Nazi. That's going to be in the Hansard. We
Can't-
did it
you gotta-
but we did it when Cooper read the manifesto in, because
Yes.
so we thought maybe same thing, similar thing, but this one's a little different because this is historical. Number one,
Yes.
and number two, it happened.
It happened.
It happened.
happened.
20, 30, 100 years from now, historians looking back at the answer, it happened. It needs to be there. It happened.
Oh, don't worry, PNC Bio. We're not going to do that. Please don't get into equivocating what circumstances make war crimes okay. No.
Nope.
There's war crimes are never okay. Period. Ever. Yep. Ever. And again, I'm not defending.
No. But remember, all crimes have intent.
Mm-hmm.
Right? All crimes have intent. So
if he committed atrocities, well, seriously, what did I say yesterday? Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
And I mean it. If he committed atrocities, yeah, done. Period. Hang him out. Because you don't get to do that and then get to reap the rewards of being a citizen of this country.
Mm-hmm. But again.
But apparently in the 80s, he was cleared of that because he was investigated. So
we had a commission.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He is not the only person from that era who may have been such units from Ukraine that Canada allowed in.
Right.
I guess there were hundreds, most likely. So, like I said, what I'm saying is that there was a commission. This has been looked into at some point. Do we have new information now that we didn't have then that warrants us looking into it again? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But we did have, yes, a quasi-judicial process look at through this, and we determined that these people in this unit specifically were not guilty of war crimes. So that's why you know me, I like to take very transcendent positions, but I like to take them when I know what I'm talking about here. And I'm just saying, we could be in a situation here where it's a person who simply did, his personal story is that he simply did what he needed to do to survive. Or he may have been a total evil monster. We do not know. We do know that the things that we do know is that there was a commission and it was deemed that this unit did not participate in war crimes. Therefore, I'm guessing they were allowed to remain in the country. We did know of them and we did look into it. There was a process. I'm surprised that it's not being mentioned and looked into a lot, and I'm guessing I'm probably going to have to read more, or maybe see if we can get Craig Baird from Canadian History, or maybe even Kit Hugh knows about this because he is a bit of a military historian, so he might know about that. But I know that everybody in the 24/7 media, 24-hour media is breathlessly doing Nazi good, Nazi bad. You know, it was like, should he have invited a Nazi? Why shouldn't he have not invited a Nazi? Did he apologize enough? Should he apologize? Does the Prime Minister need to apologize to all Canadians on top of this? Now that the Speaker has done it, do we need to issue a formal apology to Zelensky? We don't even know how Zelensky feels about it. Right. We have people in Ukraine writing about this and saying in a fact check that no, this guy or this unit or whatever is, and almost none of us, like, if you have family or you're a descendant, because you have way more knowledge than I do, right? But for the mostly 40 million of us who are not of the diaspora and not related to anyone, we're just coming into this subject. we really don't know. And I mean, I'm having time to look into a few things here and there as I can. But again, if you're thinking how this is playing, you know, again, 2.4 kids working an hour, working 2, 3 hours of overtime every day, caught in traffic. You don't have, you're looking at the news. It's like, wow, there was a Nazi in parliament. How awful, terrible.
Yes.
Bad, 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 bad liberals spanked them. I can't believe they did this again. Oh, well, that's it. That's the final straw. I'm voting. Like,
And that's what happens, right?
right.
And
that's how
the
the conservatives are playing it.
Yeah, that's exactly how they're playing it. And truth be damned, by the multitude of lies in one tweet from Skippy the other day when I lost my shit.
Yeah, but nuance, complexity, history, right?
Yeah.
This debate is, he was a member of a SS unit. I don't care what the frickin' reason is. I don't care when it is, when it is in his life. I don't care if he was pushed into it. I don't care if he saw his family executed right in front of him and said, okay, I'll do it. I don't know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We don't know. We don't know his story. I guess, and plain total devil's advocate, even if we did know his story, it's his say so. Now,
Yeah.
how do we know? Right? There's so much we don't know. So I'm trying to point to the things that we do know and that this was looked at. And I'm guessing that there were way more than one. And there was a debate around that time as to whether or not we should send them back. And we had people look into it, and the best judicial process we could put together at the time. And we decided they can stay.
Mm-hmm.
There must be a reason that they were decided that they could stay. Like, so just my
What is that,
basic,
though? I don't know.
yeah. And now, we'll have to read more and research more to find that out. But for me, it's not that easy to just say he fought with that unit, he's a terrible person, because we might be in a situation right now, like I was mentioning, and this is the thought I forgot, and I'm coming back to it. It's because the liberals haven't been doing well. There's two ways you can handle this. If indeed there is all this complexity and he is not this monster that everybody's making him out to be, then Rota doesn't resign. You fight, you resist, you fight, you resist, you fight, you resist, but you take a lot of hits until you prove the case that this guy really wasn't a monster. Right? And like you said yesterday, Skippy's tweet,
I don't know if there's any point.
But like you said yesterday, Skippy's tweet with all the lies had 7,900 and something retweets, and Karina Gold's had 273.
Yeah.
So there's a real
like,
politic about the number of hits you take and what the liberals' objective is, and it's to wrestle. So you have all these liberals basically saying, yeah, he's a Nazi. It's terrible. If there is any subtlety, we might be creating more of a diplomatic incident now. What if President Zelensky does recognize this guy as a hero?
Yeah.
Now, he's not going to say it publicly because he can't, because Putin's just waiting there for that camera to say, nah, look at the Nazi praising a Nazi.
Yes, yeah. The Jewish man whose family was in a concentration camp. He's a Nazi.
That's what I mean. When you start thinking about it beyond just who's bad, who's good, Nazi in parliament, good thing, bad thing, debate, discuss,
Bad.
right?
It's a bad
Yes,
thing. Period.
But when the discussion only stops at that level.
Oh yeah.
I hear look you. At all this richness, and I mean richness not in delicious yummy goodness, but all the meat underneath that subject, all the historical context, all the real life context, what it is in a war, what type of person would you be, what are your ethics, what are all that mess, I guess, and how much truth can you know, and how much do you have to rely on, and whose word do you rely on in this subject? So and there's something called primacy bias. the first piece of information that you hear is the one you
Is the
run
one
with
you
and that you
believe.
compare everything else
Right.
to. And does it fit? Well, if the first piece of information is, yes, he's most definitely a Nazi and a monster, this particular man, the unit is a different thing. This particular man, what was his story?
Well, they don't take them as individuals then. It's just you get lumped in with the same group, and that's who you are, period. You know,
I'm just saying, we recently had a situation where we drug a man's name through the mud based on leaked intelligence. And this is as a result of a leak. Handong. One person left Global as a result and then started his own business, and now there's a defamation suit on. Look at this. Like, it's like we're very quick with the pitchforks and the torches.
Well, we're reactionary. Look, Nazis are bad.
Nazis are bad all the time.
That's it.
And that's why I was saying yesterday.
There's no nice Nazis.
And that's why I was saying yesterday that Rota had to resign, because if he actually did genuinely believe. But my fear is that the Liberals are making a quick 15-minute decision. Let's get this out of the news because we're trying to wrestle the agenda back.
Well, it's just going to come back to bite him in the
And
ass.
what if we're now engaged in another one of these hang-dongs and whatnot? Again,
talk about an own goal, though.
But it's a total on goal. And again, I know that some people are going to turn around and go, like, why aren't you condemning? I was like, trust me, if I had enough data to know for sure, I guess I'd be right there. But I know how people like to take little bits of information and move them around. And I'm seeing, when conservatives can't just take the fact, you know what, there was someone that was in an SS unit. This is a bad look. Right? Regardless of the reason, it's a bad look. And just run with that. The truth was enough in this case. But they added, he met with them. They added that the Prime Minister's office only vets that only the Prime Minister personally could have vetted that person. When people get that close to the Prime Minister, there must be a vetting. They conflated security vetting with political vetting and made it into this whole mess, and then attributed it to the
But that's how they win the nanosecond. That's how they win the nanosecond. That's all they want.
But that's what I'm saying. Is all of this to get us to debate whether or not the PMO does that, whatnot, and not actually look into this man's past.
Why, if I were a journalist,
why did he want to see Zelensky in person if he's a Nazi?
Well, this is the curious case of Benjamin Button, right? I just don't understand that at all. I don't understand how Skippy has not been confronted for the blatant lies he told, which, by the way, are not under parliamentary privilege because he tweeted them online. So when you lie like that, not in the House of Commons, you do not have your parliamentary privilege. So why has he not been grilled over the lies he spewed just the other day to paint the picture that he wants to sell to the public that liberals bad, me good? Look, fine, I get it. You're trying to win the nanosecond, and I understand that. You're a shit gibbon. You're a cockwomble. You're a horrible fucking human being because you blatantly lied and misled the public intentionally so that you could get them riled up and start hating on him, because you just said the other day when he defended LGBTQ2 plus S trans
children,
you said he's dividing people. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
He defended a marginalized community, and you said he's defending.
He said he was demonizing concerned parents. Concerned parents weren't.
That's not what he said.
They weren't even mentioned.
No,
in what
that was
Prime
never.
Minister Trudeau said. It's like,
So he's
how
trying to
do you,
paint a picture.
but the thing is that if saying we must be inclusive to all, to us LGBTIQ, everything, the rainbow people,
Right.
is divisive and they exist, isn't
Yeah.
saying that we shouldn't, or
Mm.
inferring that saying that we should is divisive, also divisive,
I
right?
really want to know why his feet have not been held to the fire for that tweet and for the one yesterday. Why?
I'm still
Why is he allowed to get away with
I'm
this?
still waiting for his feet to be held for the fire for having ghosted us at Pride. He said mid-June in front of the cameras that he was going to get back to us on how it is he was going to celebrate our freedom to live authentically. It's September 27th and we're still waiting for the call. We're that 18-year-old girl, high school girl, who has like a much prettier, more popular sister sitting at home on prom night, hoping someone's going to call in our dress, ready to go. Just someone call.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you. It's just with all this breathless running around and hot, like if ever there was a moment right now for media to be using its information function to give us a little education about what might be going on in India and why we might have this going on at the same time as what may have happened in Ukraine around that time. I mean, they have 24-hour networks.
Mm-hmm.
They have the time. But if there's ever a time this country, Canadians needed a world history lesson, might be now. Because
Well, I
none of
think
this
that's
is as easy, right? Even in the Indian situation, right? There were
mhm.
events that were terrible.
Oh, yes.
And it seems that that movement was very, very aggressively and violently suppressed. And people are
Well, they
wondering, like the IRA, is it now just a political movement?
mm,
Because, right, if we were looking today, 2023, the IRA, and there was a
mhm.
movement for an independent something, would the vote go
Ireland.
down? Would it go more down like the Scottish vote now? Or would there be bombings in the street? It probably would be going down much more Scottish-like now.
Well,
They've had
I
X
do
number of
feel bad
years.
for Scotland because they had a vote on whether they should
Yes, and then they got screwed with the Brexit thing.
secede, and they said we'll stay. Okay, and then Brexit. They're like, wait a minute, we didn't want that.
Yes,
Like,
we voted
oh,
to stay
man.
because we thought you guys were going to stay too.
Yeah.
So, but with the Good Friday Agreement, right? That thing that needed to be negotiated for safe passage for the border,
Mhm,
right? To meet the agreement, they finally had to come up with something so that
mhm.
it could be seamless, because otherwise they were worried that tensions would flare up again. But maybe they wouldn't, because there's been, what, 2, 3 decades of peace? People kind of like
Yeah.
peace.
Yeah, especially, the people that were once warriors are now grandparents in many cases, and they're like, I don't want my grandchildren to have to go through what we went through.
Yeah. So movements change somewhere along the way. Again, I don't know enough about the history of this. I don't know how long it's been since the last moment of violence in this particular movement. I, I, I don't know. But wouldn't it be nice? I was listening to Peter Mansbridge and he had Janice Stein on the other day. And it's like,
Mhm,
okay, there's a little bit more context
mhm,
I have. The hot take from Andrew Shear, who lied to us about being an insurance salesman,
Yeah.
is probably not the
Well-
one we should rely on the history of Hindu-Sikh relations in the Punjabi state in India about 30, 40 years ago until now. Or hundreds of years ago until now, depending how far back you want to go, right? The reputation of Pierre Poliver as a serial bullshitter, as Mark Miller called him,
Mhm.
probably should be taken into account when he says that he wants Rota to resign, and then he does, and then the next day that's not enough for him.
It's never enough for him.
Then he wants an apology of some kind.
Well, maybe he should apologize. He stood up and applauded.
Well, sort of.
Oh,
Well, it depends which one,
that'll
eh?
never happen.
There
Yeah,
was
you
the
saw
attack
him
for
for
Zelensky, and then there was the other, the Mr.
Zelensky.
Yeah, the Mr. It was almost like Mr. Burns, like it was like
Excellent.
he was glaring at him.
Yeah, well,
He was like he had the he was just like the look. It was the clap was one thing, but the look was like just contempt, just utter contempt.
it's
And
because
then
he has no personality.
and then the reception line didn't work well for him either.
No, because he kept touching his crotch.
Well, yes. Now, hey, listen. I know people tried to make a big deal of that, like this, the crouch.
No, I
pouty-
wasn't. I'm not making
the
a big
crotch and
deal.
the pouty face like this. I'm a guy. I've had to adjust at very uncomfortable times. I'm not going to hold that against him.
Yeah. No. It's just like I'm like he kept touching his crotch. It's like, oh, what a terrible time for that to
Yes,
have to. That
exactly.
that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
I'm not making.
But then
I'm not
they
making
get
fun
to
of him.
the
It's like,
reception line, and we had the one with Joe Biden, right, where he's like tried to school
Yeah.
Joe Biden on what loyal opposition means, like he hadn't been in the Senate for 40 years, and this was his first trip to Canada. But like this, and then he's like looking up like after the convoy, loyal, eh? Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I saw what you did.
and then with Zelensky, again, he was like wooden and stiff and just not natural. And like meanwhile, just a couple of seconds before we saw like, the person wanted to shake Prime Minister Trudeau's hand first, and Prime Minister Trudeau is like, no, you shake our guests' hands first, and then makes the joke, no, I see these people all the time. Don't worry about it. Right. He's got a natural ease and comfort. Right.
Mm.
So, and Bolivar just doesn't have it. So that didn't work well either. And then, Fraser made the comment in the House of Commons about, his glasses, and that got under his skin. And then he behaved like a little bitch again. And then, so, I mean, he's not been having a good week. So this thing is gold for him. Because PP saw just how quickly he can have the message wrestled away from him with some skill play. So he's going to be all over this like a greedy kid on a Smartie.
Well, and some of the questions, some of the comments I've read in the chat, and I've been noticing it too. It's like he's aged rapidly in the last year. I mean, since the convoy of 2022, the occupation of Ottawa, he has aged 15 years in that time frame. The man does not look well. I wonder if he's ill. Like I'm legitimately asking if the man is ill, because he has aged. If you look at him at the, like when the truckers first arrived in Ottawa, which was 2022, it'll be 2 years in February. You look at pictures of him then and look at pictures of him today. Something ain't right. Is it the stress of the position, or is it the hatred that makes him so? Hatred ages people. I mean, look at Donald Trump and look at Joe Biden. Which one looks younger? Which one looks better? Which one looks healthier? Bridget wants to say hello.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to lighten things up a bit before Paul has to leave for work. I just wanted to say good morning to Dan, to Jen, to Elaine, to Saucy Witch. Thank you for all your kindness.
All right.
There you go.
Thank you so much. Okay. How are we doing for time, Mr. Grizzly?
Got to roll.
All right.
This is a good comment, I think, from Saucy right here. Constant jet lag while campaign rage farming will do that to a person.
Mm-hmm.
In regards to Skippy.
Yeah.
You know what? I think you might be right about that, because he has had, and I'm having traveling that much does horrible things to your body.
Yep.
It really does.
Absolutely.
So maybe, that might be a big part of it. And rage farming and always being surrounded by a sea of hatred will,
Yeah.
But he does not look healthy, and I question that. And here's why. Taking apart the fact that he is not a good human being. He's a bad human being. He is. Let's get the politics out of the way. Let's get the fact he is still a human being, and he has children. And I would feel terrible if suddenly those children no longer had a father.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. I'm getting to the humanity aspect of it.
Yeah.
The man, I don't know if he could ever redeem himself for the terrible things he's done in his 40-some years on the planet. I don't think he is redeemable, but he's still a father and he's still a human being. And let's not question my loathing, seething hatred for the man, because that's still very much there. But we still have to remember we're human beings. And as much as I hate him with the white-hot intensity of 1,000 suns, I don't wish ill upon his children, which means that I hope if he's ill, he gets the help he needs.
Okay.
That's my humanity.
I'm personally not wondering if he's ill or not, but I'm definitely, he's been hitting the road pretty hard the last year and a half with that self-promotion tour and all that kind of stuff. So I would not be surprised if it's wear and tear and exhaustion. But but yes, it's kind of counterproductive because there was this whole makeover look to sort of make him look more fresh and buff and jacked and all that kind of stuff. And that's incompatible with that type of schedule. It's just incompatible with that type of schedule. So I would not assume anything other than fatigue. And I mean, if the Prime Minister is going to make this last till 2005, 2025, I don't see how this is going to get better for him, because there's no way with the pace that he started, there's no way he can allow himself to slow down. He started at 11. So he's kind of stuck there. All right. Kits, that's the end of this episode of the True North Eager Beaver Daily Morning Show on the Crier Media Network. We hope that you love listening to us, because we loved making this for you. Remember that sharing is caring, so please share the good word about our show with your peeps and poops. And because democracy is something that you do, remember to plan your vote for Manitoba. I believe the election date is October 3rd and October 2nd for the provincial by-election in the Jean Talon area in Quebec City. Early voting for both are on right now, so please get out there. And remember, friends don't let friends vote alone, so bring some friends with you. Of course, donate to the Red Cross. Our brothers and sisters need it. Unfortunately for Morocco, it seems that the king there, who seems to have been regarded as one of the better kings, and even though he's worth $5 billion, has not really contributed any of his own money to helping his people. So there's need. And the government of Canada is matching 3 times up to $3 million donations. Kit Cassie Lake voted yesterday. Great. Democracy is something you do moment. Thank you for sharing it with us. Thank you. Yes, get your votes in early if you are able to, just in case something happens on voting day, right? So you want to make sure that you get your vote in early if you can. If you want to subscribe to us and don't want to miss anything, you can go to the pod page sponsored by the Ray Girl, podpage.com/The True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters, all with hyphens between each one of those words. And when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, we'll come straight to you. And since you like subscribing, why not make like Kit Elaine and smash with all our buttons on our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page? All right. That's an interesting different logo. Yeah, that's a little
I'm not
different.
doing this. It's doing it on its own. I'm not doing it.
Wait a minute. Our show has
I don't know why it's not across the bottom. I don't know what's going on.
All right. True North Eager Beaver Media YouTube page. We have 3 buttons there for you to smash with. So get your party on. Like, subscribe, share. Yes, and we see that you have been joining. Our numbers have been going up. So thank you very much. And if you like what we do and would like to encourage us to do more, I'm getting very dizzy right now. For people
sorry.
listening at home, the windows are moving. And that's Mr. Grizzly making them dance. If you would like to encourage us to do more, please go to our coffee page. Okay, you need to stop.
I don't know why that's doing it, though. I'm not trying to do that.
Oh, okay. We've got a coffee page, that little squiggly by Mr. Grizzly's head there. Yes, and if you're listening, sorry, I got all flustered. Coffee.com, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. I have to stop looking at the screen because I'm being totally
Yeah,
thrown
sorry.
off.
I'm just trying to figure out what was going on. I don't know. I
Okay.
guess they changed the software and didn't let us know. That happens all the time.
Okay. From the Beaver Lodge, this is you're sorry for such a terrible outro. People listening from the Beaver Lodge. This is your Eager Beaver saying, it could be a tough world out there, kids. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom for us, please?
Well, I'm going to steal it from this graphic I'm going to put on the screen here. Coffee. It's cheaper than a defense attorney.
Yes.
I'll be drinking lots of coffee today so that I don't harm any human beings. 'Cause I am a little logy and a little cranky, and I don't want to be either of those things. So I'm going to drink my coffee and smile at everyone I see. Smile.
Smile. All right, Mr. Grizzly, please roll the credits, and we'll have something to celebrate. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. All right. Well, first I have to thank Miss Sadeko, who clearly must be thinking I'm having a good hair day because she put Happy Hump Day Supermodel Douglas. Well, there you go. Thank you so much.
Super bottle? Oh, super model. I thought you said super bottle.
Super
like,
bottle drink. Super bottle drinking girl.
What that means.
Oh, man. Yes. Good news. The Canadian national women's soccer team is going to the Olympics. Yeah, to defend the title.
Yes. Did they won last night?
They won last night. It was a home and away series, I'm guessing, where I guess they add up the total of the first two. So I think on the week ago Friday, I think they played in Jamaica and won 1-0, and they played at the biggest crowd ever for a soccer game at BMO Field, and won 2-1, securing the spot for the Olympics.
Nice.
Chance to go defend the gold. All right,
cool.
Let's do it. Let's take it home. All right, kids.
You can do it.
You can do it.
The whole Rob Schneider.
I know. Considering he's in the news now, he's decided not to come.
Oh, darn. How terrible is that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Rob, you've decided not to come. How off? Hey, what about...
Oh, no. Oh, no, please don't. Please.
Yeah, you decided not to come. How awful. Hey, what's for lunch?
Yeah. I'm thinking some minestrone.
All right. See ya.